I like it. I like it.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to this outdoor edition of Think Sales. Jeff and I are looking forward to talking to Rick Rubenfaer. Rick, always good to see you. And, we're looking forward to talking to you about sales today. You do digital marketing sales for pharma companies. And, I think right now, there's so much talk about pharma companies with lowering prices and the prices of drugs and who can afford it and who can't. And, really, I would imagine that a lot of these pharma companies need a very extensive digital presence to connect emotionally with the people that they're trying to connect with. And so as a salesperson in the field, what are you seeing as far as how you're selling maybe differently today than you did in February, as we sit here on September 4th, 2020 in COVID?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Pleasure spending some
first outdoor edition.
First outdoor edition.
Full outdoor edition.
Pleasure spending some quality time with you this morning. So it's been an interesting 6 months, and fortunately, the agency that I'm with is well positioned to help support clients in this kind of new world that we're living in. So I'll give you a little bit of background about the agency, because oftentimes it's folks like yourselves and our wives and everyone else says, what the hell do you do? Rick?
Yeah, I should mention your company is closerlook.com.
Yeah, so we're a digital native marketing agency, and we help pharma brands reach and engage their most valuable customers, whether they be healthcare professionals, patients, caregivers. We use data to generate insight about our brand's customers, what's important to them, and how can we most effectively kind of influence a behavior, whether it be to prescribe a specific product or to talk to a physician about something they're experiencing from a symptom standpoint. We've been around since '87. We're headquartered in Chicago, but there's pharma companies all over the country, all over the world that we partner with. So, my role is primarily, kind of reaching out to new clients, brands who are looking to extend the way in which they promote their products to their customers across promotional channels. And so, I talk to a lot of different pharma brands about what they're doing currently, how they're promoting their products. As you guys are well aware, it's generally pharma sales reps that are in the office talking to physicians about the benefits of the product that they're promoting, how it can help their patients that they see in their practice. But that's changed dramatically over the last 6 months. So reps are not really going into the physician's office. Physicians are restricting access to representatives. Oftentimes, if they are going there, it's to drop off samples of their products so that their shelves are stocked now that patients are going back in. But it's been an interesting run. A lot of our clients, where it's traditionally kind of that personal promotion, through representatives, are coming to us and saying, hey, what are you guys doing differently now that reps aren't going into the office? And we're saying, quite frankly, we're continuing to stay the course. We're a digital marketing firm, and we're helping our clients reach their customers in alternative ways, across alternative channels. So it's kind of what we're doing from a non-personal digital standpoint is designed to help augment the representative's efforts and kind of replicate that experience that a physician may have when interacting with a sales rep.
So it's so funny because, the things that you're saying, I think of anyone that's in sales, like I am, that, anybody out there is, reaching and engaging people and influencing behavior. Like at this particular point in time, it's so hard, more challenging, obviously, not being able to be in front of people and see people. And I mean, just knowing you, I mean, you used to travel weekly, being in front of people and seeing people continually. And, which leads me to my question is, at this particular point in time, as far as reaching and engaging, are you, based on not having that personal touch, what are some of the things that you're doing, to keep yourself front of mind, with your clients?
Yeah. So what I will say is that, given the environment and that we're living in today, it's not just me, it's not just you guys, everybody
Everybody.
is
Everybody in the
affected,
world.
right? So,
Right.
you know, I think that this has changed the way we talk to people. I mean, everybody's on Zoom now. Our clients, it's kind of, it's sort of, what's the best way to describe it? Kind of the formality of a call with a client is not as formal anymore. There's no more stand-up live presentations showing, hey, this is the creative that we could do for you, and this is how we would execute it across. That's all being done virtually, and it changes the way in which you're communicating with folks. People seem to be much more open to corresponding, whether it be via Zoom. People don't answer their phone anymore in the office, so cold calling is has changed considerably. But you know, I think it's you see cats walking across desks, you hear kids in the background screaming, people stop conference calls with 10 people on them because their dog's barking because the Amazon guy just dropped off a package.
That happens every 10 minutes at my house.
It's
Right.
ridiculous. It's
Amazon is
ridiculous.
dropping
It's a
something
little
off
too
every
much over
10
here too.
Working from home has totally changed. Like everything, I see everything now.
Right.
But it's you know, yes, I would prefer the in-person live interaction with people. But I think that we as a society have totally adapted to life, you know, virtually now. And I don't see that changing anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because, you know, all signs are showing that even post-vaccine, the world is going to change a little bit. You know, you have companies like Ford Motor Company that just came out last week that they asked 30,000 people to come and pack their desks because they're changing their whole platform of working remotely.
Yep.
You have Google that and Facebook where their employees aren't coming back to a live office minimum until July. That could change, but as of now. And so you have this this decade of already, which was going to be a decade of adaptability because of 85% of all the jobs that are going to exist in the year 2030, studies show don't exist today. And then COVID accelerates this concept and this theory of adaptability. And now anybody who was behind the curve in the digital space, many people were stuck in 2000, 2005, 2008, now realize they need to be very ahead of real time and very current when it comes to their digital presence. So to me, it's critical to have a very extensive, updated daily digital presence so your people can connect with you emotionally to simulate that emotional connection that we just can't have with our clients today. So when you're talking to your clients, how are you, I know what I'm saying to my clients is I'm coaching clients all over the country, but what are you suggesting to your clients on how to connect emotionally to build the brand, to build the relationship capital and the brand ambassadors that they need?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question because I was watching one of your in preparation for this morning. I was watching one of your previous episodes. I think it was with Blake George, maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Blake's great. He's been on a couple times. Yeah,
and you asked him a question. And it was I'm like, God, I know the answer to that question. You said something
in comments.
You said something about content is king, right? And one of the things that our agency is obsessed with is relevance. So you talk about an emotional connection. It's like what we need to do as marketers is to help our clients be more relevant, create content that's relevant, that will connect with the audience that you're trying to communicate with, to create that emotional connection with them, right? Our CEO, David Ormersher, he often says something that, touch the heart to move the mind. Right. And that's something that I think is pervasive in all of the work that we're doing and that we're advising our clients on. It's you need to create relevant content and deploy it in a way in which you can connect with your customers across the channels that they want to be communicated through.
Correct.
Right. It's let's make less noise and let's be very intentional and specific about what we're saying and to who and across the, what channel is that make the most sense to
dive into that for one more minute, Rick. Define digital. I think people have different definitions of digital. Some people are very one-dimensional and think only of Facebook. Maybe some people think of LinkedIn. Some people aren't even thinking of their website, building their mailing list. Like, define digital in today's world.
Yeah, so we're looking at things more from like a multi-channel or an omni-channel perspective. It's what's the customer experience that we want to create, right? And when we're thinking about physicians, they're very busy individuals. They're in the office, perhaps they're in surgeries. They're on the go regularly. So when and how can we most effectively communicate with physicians, for instance, right? So email is a great way to connect with physicians. They go to a number of trusted resources and sites that we partner with, whether it be WebMD, Medscape, PeerDirect, Skipta. There's a number of different Doximity. There's a number of different physician-focused platforms out there. So communicating with them where they are, and then driving them back to properties that enable them to learn more about a specific condition, a specific product, and then continuing that ongoing communication and relationship with them. Again, if you're relevant, you will see physician or customers engage. And if you achieve engagement, you're going to build a relationship with an individual over time. And those are the folks that are going to become your loyalists and your advocates for your product. So, all of the various media channels are available to you, email, and we think about things from an owned, paid, social, and I always forget the fourth: owned, paid, earned, and social. Those are the various media ways in which you can reach your customers. So thinking about owned, that's your website. That's the content you're creating and what you're deploying and driving customers back to. Paid, whether it be search or display, ways in which you want to grab people's attention and have them raise their hand and say, I'm interested in learning more about that. Social has now become very prevalent in terms of patient communication and caregivers. We're working with a couple of products in the rare disease space. And in the rare disease space, you're talking about a really meaningful relationship that needs to be established between patients, caregivers, and physicians.
Yeah.
Right. So how are you helping to connect patients with others that have walked in their shoes with very rare conditions that may have taken years to diagnose? And then how do you help them to talk to their physicians differently so they can say, this is what I'm experiencing and this is what I need help with. Work with me, and providing all of the information that they need. So we think about the various channels that are available to us, and then we kind of develop sort of omni-channel strategy to say, this is the journey that we want this individual, whether they be a patient or a physician, to take. These are the ways and the means in which we think we can get them to take that journey. And then here's the content library that we have available to us, and here's how we want to deploy that content to, again, kind of create that incredibly meaningful engagement with those individuals each and every time we talk to them.
I love it.
Does that answer your question? I know
that was like a white paper. Yeah, I know. It was
Great answer.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's interesting. I know we're both good friends with Johnny Immerman, and our firm is a huge fan of Johnny Immerman and what he's doing from a one-on-one cancer support standpoint.
Yeah.
And in thinking about the engagement piece, right? It's connecting people who have experienced something that someone's newly experiencing. That's the type of interaction that we want to establish with our customers, whether they be physicians, right? I mean, physicians are looking for clinical data. They're looking for information about a specific condition or a product. How do we make sure that we get that information to them and create some meaningful interaction? Then on the patient and the caregiver side, like what Johnny's doing at Immerman Angels, man, that is a tremendous way to help and support the patient community for those that are, diagnosed with cancer and trying to go through this journey unknowing about what's going to happen.
Yeah. No, what Johnny's built with Immerman Angels is unbelievable. He was on the show a couple of months ago. What he's done is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
We should have him on. I love him too. He's great.
You'll need way more than a half an hour to talk.
No, he was good. I had him and Jeff on both talking a little bit about Immerman and their new company, Close Talk.
Close Talk is great. When you're in Chicago, they have the Close Talk truck that's driving around town. It's ridiculous.
I play tennis with Jeff on Wednesdays, and he shows up, Johnny's brother, and he shows up in his Close Talk covered truck.
That's great. That's great.
So, it's funny, just like a comment. So relevance is so important in what I do. And, we've tried to, we've had to reinvent ourselves and adapt to the change of, everything that's going on. And, being relevant. And, I think people nowadays, like they want to hear from somebody who has information that they're going to, that's going to add value to them. And for us, when I talk to my sales staff, we discuss being relevant, being there for people, and in a different way. Obviously, what you do is a little more emotional, but real estate, for people, the buying, selling houses and whatnot, there's a lot of emotion involved in controlling folks, and it's difficult, but being relevant is so important. You said something that was kind of rang to me too, and that's creating an experience. Again, like with what I do, it's tough to do that, but that is the goal that we continually have. And John and I have talked about this too, like in our coaching. And what are you going to do to create an experience, to set yourself aside during this, during this situation, and just really generally in life and in sales. And I think part of that is just being sincere and and wanting to help, and that whole thing. But do you find that now that the folks you're reaching are accepting the new experience that you can provide, instead of being in front of them, taking them out to dinners and doing those kinds of things? You think they're adapting and understanding and now jumping on board with the certain new sales experience that we're living in here?
Well, from a client perspective, it's they have to adapt, right? Like their traditional way of doing things, and pharma as an industry is slow to move, right? I mean, I've gone to a number of industry conferences. I've been with this firm for about 9.5 years, and I was sold in the healthcare space for another 6.5 before that. So I've gone to conferences, and this industry is very, very slow to change, right? The traditional way is our representative is going to go in the office, they're going to talk to a doctor about a specific product, and they're going to drop off samples, and they're going to really highlight the safety and efficacy of the product and why it's right for their patients with type 2 diabetes or hypertension, what have you. That's the mindset, and everyone's kind of been really focused on supporting their sales reps, whether it be 40 reps or 3,000 sales representatives. That's changed dramatically now, right? So you need our clients have changed in their mindset in terms of how they're thinking about supporting their representatives. We need more digital assets to support our representatives' activities. We need ways in which we can get in front of our customers, because we know reps can't get in. So we need to think more broadly about how we're engaging our customers and reaching them. So in my conversations with our clients, we were brand marketers for pharma. The old way of doing things is out, right? Where you're kind of a one-channel marketing organization, and you do some digital over here or something along those lines. It's now that the pendulum is swinging in this direction, and whether or not, I think it's beneficial to the industry. It's forcing us to think differently about how we're promoting our products. Now it needs to be a little more even across personal, non-personal, right. And then even like conferences. Like ASCO, one of the biggest oncology conferences each year in Chicago in June, you've got thousands and thousands of physicians, oncologists attending this conference to learn more about products that are in clinical trials. That's all virtual. Every conference is virtual now. Right. So you're talking about major events that are virtual, and so everything is just shifting.
And people are just, you're right. Like, just a comment. You're forced to do that, and my industry is slow to move too with change, and watching being forced to have to change and adapt, and the speed in which it had to occur was pretty amazing. So anyway,
well, and I don't know if I exactly answered your question. I think you were also asking about my interaction with clients.
Yes,
right, the brand marketers. I think there is it's changed a little bit in the sense that there's accessibility to them a little bit more, right? Yeah. Where everybody in our industry, you're running from meeting to, like you guys, you're running from meeting to meeting to meeting, right? You've got 7 or 8 hours of meetings a day, and then it's before and after is when you actually get your work done, right? Clients are much more accessible. I personally miss going out, taking clients out to dinner, having a drink, what have you. And I'm sure they do as well, being home with kids all day long now. But I think everyone is starting to adapt and accept the fact that this is kind of the way we're doing business. John, you mentioned all these major digital companies, technology companies, you're not coming back to the office at a minimum until January, right? Some have said some of this said indefinitely. So,
you're talking a lot about, and we're all talking a lot about innovation and, and getting current, right? COVID forced many companies all around the world to get current. Some still aren't there. They're still kind of fighting it, but they need to get there. And so my question to you is, Rick, because you're in the digital space, right? So to me, it's about not what's necessarily current, but what's next.
Yep.
Right. And so, that's how you really stay ahead.
Yep.
And so as somebody who's out there selling digital products, what are the suite of digital recommendations that you're giving, not only to connect emotionally with your clients, to stay relevant, like we're talking about, and to be innovative and not stale?
Yeah. So innovation's an interesting word, and we've used that word for many, many years, right? In this industry, our clients, we want some of your most innovative ideas. Share them with us. How can we use innovation to help promote our products, across our portfolio or what have you? In the way in which we look at innovation, it's yes, there's a technology component and there's a way in which you kind of enhance what you're doing, but it's doing things differently than you've traditionally done them before. That's innovative, right?
Yeah.
We as an agency really kind of thrive on the customer data, the access that our clients provide us to their data about their customer, right? So you've got reps going into the office, you've got physicians that are attending conferences, they're interacting with your website or different digital properties. Every time you have an opportunity to learn about them, you're collecting data and information. And that's what we use to really inform, to your point, how do we communicate?
Right. You're using data to forecast out.
Out, right? So we use data to create, strategies that are 12, 18, 24 months out. I mean, we're working with products that are pre-commercial right now and could be approved in 12 months.
Yeah.
And you can't just think about what happens in the next 12 months. You have to think about what's that first year of in-market promotion look like. So we're providing roadmaps to our clients to say digital is a way in which you could increase reach and awareness of your product and engage customers wherever you may be in the life cycle of your product. But you need to be thinking about 2, 3, 4 years out. And there are ways you have to, it's a crawl, walk, run approach. You can't just get there overnight.
Yeah.
You need to build infrastructure. You need to collect data. You need to evolve your messaging. You need to think about, where are my customers? What do they want to hear from me? And how do I reach them?
Yeah, I want to add one thing to that, that I think every company in the world should be doing consistently for the next minimum 10 years, which is a weekly brainstorming session, think tank for people, because the best ideas come from the previous idea. And sometimes where you end up is just kind of from a seed planted. And it should include not just the leadership team, but from everybody from the receptionist to the leaders and everybody in between, a collection of people who really understand the nuances of the business and can add a little flavor. Mm-hmm. And the companies, in my opinion, that I see doing that are the ones that are going to accelerate the fastest because of the compounding effect of consistently meeting and talking of just simply ideas.
Yeah, and a lot of our clients, a lot of big pharma, they have in digital centers of excellence. They have digital health teams, innovation teams that spend hours, right, ideating and just developing ideas. And we do that internally as well.
Yeah, my buddy's a director of innovation at PayPal, and I mean they are doing that for hours a day.
Yeah,
and that's why it's so easy and simple to use. And
and we, as a firm, we do that. But just kind of stepping back, it's thinking, we could create some really cool virtual reality, augmented reality experiences for our customers, something that's really cutting edge from a technology standpoint. But how does that fit within the whole experience?
Yeah.
Right. That whole journey. It's cool to throw out some really innovative technologically focused ideas, innovative ideas. But if it doesn't fit in the strategy, and it's just a tactic, it doesn't necessarily make sense. It needs to be rooted in data about why is this important, and how is this going to change the behavior of the individual that interacts with it?
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you were saying, like too, as far as the think tank thing, I mean, John and I kind of talk about that often as far as like, what's your plan? What's your plan? What's your plan? And like my focus being a salesperson and managing salespeople too, I'm also one of the owners, but we do it 3 days a week. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're sitting there, having conversations about, what's new out there, what's going on in the market, who's doing what are the new behaviors, which are changing continually. I mean, it's a changing thing that I'm seeing. It's on a daily basis. I mean, we initially were sitting in a room together, having monthly meetings, with the salespeople, and I'm look back at it now like, God, that was just such a waste of time. Like, it was such a waste of time what we were doing even 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And even since we started doing this, and we're having these Zoom calls, and we're not necessarily together, it's evolved since then. When we started doing it, was like, guys, what's going on? Like, let's just be together here. March 13th hits, and it's like, okay, let's just talk. Like, how are you mentally? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? Don't reach out and start selling your clients. Call them, find out how they're doing. What's going on with them? Are they okay? Are they, where are they at? What's going on with their families? Things like that. And then, then it evolved to, okay, listen, I think we can start, pushing the sales end of things again. And we're moving into that. And now it's like, okay, now, even just as of yesterday, we need more structure. We need more ideas. We need newer strategies. We need different things, and so the conversation is continually evolving. And to your point, John, it's literally the most important thing. It's a cornerstone of what we're doing on our sales, our sales calls. It's just, innovating, new ideas, new techniques, new ways to communicate with people,
But if you look at it also, I mean, if we just look at the digital companies, I do a lot of work with companies in Silicon Valley, and like when I'm on calls with them, it's like you're talking to California and they're conferencing people from Singapore, the United Kingdom, Buenos Aires, like it's nothing, right? I mean, it is as fluid as everybody in the conference room, and they've been doing it for probably 10 years.
Well,
it's just to follow suit. Right.
Yeah, we were working with a client recently, not too long ago, probably. So two things. One, and I'm sure you guys have seen this too. I mean, there seems to be this progression that company that as a sales individual that I've taken and that our organization takes, like the first 3 months of kind of being, work from home, where, everyone was focused on the news. Everyone was watching the numbers rise. Everyone, like, there was some, is really now a good time to proactively be calling people to sell? Right? Is this an environment to sell? And then that next 3 months, kind of that June, into now, it's kind of like, okay, there's that acceptance, right? There's the denial, and then there's the acceptance of like, okay, this is how we're going to be functioning now. Let's move forward and let's start pounding the pavement, or, kind of hammering the phone and getting people excited about it. But we were working with a client in June, July timeframe. It was a global strategy engagement, and we had people from Boston, Chicago, Denmark, Italy. We had people from all over the world on these calls, 20, 30 person calls, and seamless interaction as if we've been doing it for years with no problem whatsoever. No glitches, no challenges with getting presentations up, no difficulty hearing anybody or understanding what anyone was saying. And it was seamless. And it's going to continue this way and only get better. God, did I wish I bought Zoom stock. Unbelievable.
Life is easy in hindsight, Rick.
Yeah, day late, dollar short. Story of my life. Too.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, as we close, we have a couple speed round questions for you. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. In 2020, the one thing that everybody should do from a digital standpoint is
I build your multi-year roadmap. Address the concerns today, but think about the future. We'll get through today, but let's think about the future to ensure sustainability for your organization.
Yeah.
What's the most important sales lesson that you've learned over your course of being a sales rep?
I think it's get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Right? When you go outside of your comfort zone, I think that's where you see the greatest impact of
You're certainly out of our comfort zone, I feel like, right?
I am very comfortable.
You thrive.
I'm
Yeah.
very comfortable.
Not like this.
Talk about the importance of consistency for a salesperson.
I'm sorry, say again.
Talk about the consistency, the importance of consistency for a salesperson.
I mean, I think consistency breeds success because you're continually proving and evolving how you're doing things and what you're doing. I think it's back to that uncomfortable. It's like when things get stagnant, you need to take a step back and reassess what you're doing, and then think about new ways in which you could do things. Yep. I think it's a mindset, man. It's a grind. Sales is a hustle, awesome. and you just got to keep it's like you got to have ice in your veins, right? Like, guy steps up to the free throw line, he's missed his last three free throws. Like, you can't think about the last 3 you missed. You got to think about the one that you're shooting right now.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what I've learned, is that you got to have short-term memory and move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's great advice. Great advice.
And build and use the momentum from a positive experience to kind of move into the next one.
Yeah, and don't get stuck in what you did wrong.
That's right.
You said move on.
You learn and move on.
Yeah, short-term memory. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Last one. What does Rick tell his 20-year-old self to succeed today?
It's a good one.
Well, I would say
let me ponder that.
I would say there is so much. There's so much I want to tell my 20-year-old. There's so much I want to tell my 13-year-old son, but I don't tell him because I want him to figure it out himself. And much of that is not politically correct. I think first of all, I think it's save more money. You just never know what's going to happen, right?
That's good advice. Yeah.
Save whenever you can, and don't be just in the moment.
Yes.
But dude, just enjoy what you're doing, right? Things happen for a reason. And I think that it's hard to say, do this, don't do that. Like, you can only dictate so much, but I would say just live in the moment, and take the path that feels right to you.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
And that's what I did. Like I could have been an attorney. I could have been a doctor. I could have done maybe, but whatever the case, I chose the path for a reason. And there's a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it.
I couldn't have been a doctor because I failed every pre-med class I took.
I hated school too.
I couldn't be a lawyer because I did so bad on Princeton Review that I actually ended up walking out of my LSATs.
Nice.
Right. Yeah, but I hear you. Right. That's great advice, Rick. I appreciate you being on the show. This was great. You shared a lot of solid, big picture and fundamental things on how to think digitally and get current and be innovative and stay and think long term when it comes to your digital strategy. So I appreciate you taking time to talk to Jeff and I. Jeff, I'll let you close it.
Ricky, thanks for being on the show. And listen, I've known you forever. I mean, this guy, he's got the gift of gab. He's out there hustling constantly. He continually is striving for excellence, and I see it all the time. We continually talk about work and sales, and so I commend you on that. And thanks for being on the show,
guys.
Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, Rick.
Hey, listen, just come up to Lone Pine and Middlebelt. I'll meet you on the corner. We'll tell. No, if you Rubenfaer at closerlook.com. First initial, last name at closerlook.com. Shoot me a note. Happy to chat. But guys, this has been an absolute pleasure. I love what you're doing, John. I think this is fantastic, and the support you're providing to people is outstanding, especially at a time of need right now.
Thanks, man. I love it, and it's fun to co-host with Jeff on Fridays.
Thanks, boys.
Listen, I hope to see you guys again soon.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Jeff, always fun. Ricky, thanks a lot, man.